Well, howdy y'all, this here is Guardian of Ultima, coming back to you with another video today for UO Scams. The only place to go when you are looking for a shard. And today we're going to be talking about false narratives and shills. This is within the Ultima Online community. Let's take a look. But before we do, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. There's a situation involving the UO Unchained server again and their administrator Cypher. This was brought to my attention by Hephaestus from the UO Scams channel, the Discord channel. He came and he said that Cypher, it appeared, could potentially be coaching his players to go around advertising the shard blatantly in other shards channels, right? I actually did a video on this. There's something about UO Unchained. What brought them to my attention was specifically that they were advertising in a channel, another shards channel that I had been investigating at the time. That was UO Sagas, right? So I went and took a look into it. My video basically encompassed a shard called, what was it? Redemption, I think. Their wiki and their website had Redemption as the name of the shard. It looked like, it had been used again. It could potentially be the same owner. That's what it kind of appeared that way. It's hard to say because they said who the owner was, and I don't know. You'll have to take a look at that video. I'll put the link in the description, but. Basically how it boiled down to is that the game master of the Redemption shard had been looking at trying to bring players to his shard, and there was a lot of crypto talk at the time, and he was like, how do I get my hands on that shit? When he was talking about advertising directly to other players in other channels, other Ultima Online shard channels, right? So, whether or not it's him or what, you'll have to watch my last video and kind of decide for yourself on that. But in this case, he's in the clear because it says, it's the only thing he said was, said that if we had 100 plus in Discord, I'd do a raffle. I'll talk to him, right? So I looked into it. The Unchained shard has more than 100 players in their Discord already. He's talking about online, right? So if we have 100 plus in Discord, I do a raffle. He's talking about online because he's already got like 500 or 600 people in the Discord, right? So that's not coaching players to go around to other channels, right? Although we do wonder if there is some truth to that. The admins would like people to do this. In my opinion, if you're going to be going around to some other shard's Discord channel and you're going to be advertising your shard in their shard's channel, you're an asshole, right? But you never also know who's behind the person doing that, right? And I can sympathize a little bit. You can't say for sure that it's Cypher that's doing it or Adamant that's doing it, right? And that's what I'm saying. When I was with Angel Island Siege Perilous, that was a big problem for Angel Island because there was somebody named Chill, I guess, from the Outlands community, and they were just spamming the Angel Island in their Discord, and it's always hard to say, and then Chill was gone. He didn't even really play the shard. He showed up for a week or something, right? It always made me feel I wonder if that was just sabotage, right? I wonder if that was somebody who's an Outlands gold seller who just, he's got a big guild there and everything too, right? It's hard to say, is this somebody who's just trying to tarnish the Angel Island name in the Outlands Discord channel by spamming it like a loser, right? And then, nobody played as a consequence. Actually, we had a pretty good turnout, but a lot of people didn't stay. But still, it definitely hurt the shard that happened. And I just want to say, disclaimer about that because you just never know who's doing it, right? Like I say, if the guy was actually coaching players to do it, to go into other channels, specifically a public channel like that, I would definitely send me screenshots of that for sure. Send me screenshots of anything and just to check, right? And I'll look into anything. So, but yeah, in this case, I really have to say, like, it's not always, things aren't always how they appear, and that's what we've been finding out with all of these videos, right? There's a lot of false narratives out there, like, and sabotage, I would say. It's just really cutthroat. It's always really been like that on free shards. But if we have bad corporate actors in the community that are making shards and they've got bots and crap like that rolling, and we've always had those problems, right? We've had those problems since like 2001, right? This is nothing new to Ultima Online. We all know how it works, and I think that if the community were healthy, I think a lot of players would like that, because they back to Outlands again. Yes, I did show some of these screenshots. Disclaimer, are from the video that I did, in the last video that I did, which was about favoritism. Today we're going to be looking at these same screenshots, but under the lens of false narratives, okay? And tactics, again, that people who may be doing some things that are unethical seem to employ. We'll start with this situation. This was a situation where Outlands has this Halloween event, I believe. The Roaming Terror was giving points for this event. Outlands historically does events where they have a leaderboard, and top scorers get top prizes, unique rewards, things like that, right? So in this case, this West Furtive is saying that this Roaming Terror is nowhere to be found, and he's asking in the Discord because that seems strange. Did the respawn time get adjusted? He's asking. It's definitely broken. We got a shill coming in here. I said this guy it seemed like he was shilling in the channel for Owen. Sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, we love you, Owen. Don't worry about it," right? That's terrible, right? He's trying to, he's taking this critic and kind of making light of it, right? It seems like there may have been some expectation that people would criticize this move, as it happened in the middle of the event after some people already earned points, when there's leaderboards involved and it's very competitive. That's where you'll get the drama, right? So this is something that you would definitely want to have some public consultation on, and they should know that by now. That's what I mentioned in my last video, right? It goes on about Owen. Owen comes in, and this is what I want to point out here. Owen comes in. It seems like this is a tactic that Outlands might be using. Owen is here for a change to the game, which is kind of Luthier's domain, right? It seemed like in the past there had been some instances of Luthier's showing up to talk about administrative decisions, which are not really his domain. That's Owen's domain. So this could be a tactic that they're employing. I wanted to take a look at that. So here comes Owen to talk to the critic and say it was spawning every minute in error. It was an error, so it had to be done. Okay, it was already like that, I guess, the year prior, the entire time, I think, probably. So it says the two terrors both spawned every minute since last year. Yeah, been broken for a while now. It creates a nice pace and race to bounce between, and it makes the event more fun. But Owen's saying it's too many points, it's too easy. So he's defending the decision. It says same game, same rules for everyone. Yep. That's not really a professional response. Although they do say on Outlands that they host professionally, right? And it says, he's like, way to ruin it. It's just kind of laughing at him now, right? That's kind of disrespectful in my opinion. And then it ends with, Wes is just saying, you've already got an unbelievably successful server here. It's overpopulated as fuck, and you want to slow down the event. We're literally sardined in, fighting overkills as it is. So it's very competitive, too. So maybe that's part of the issue. As usual, I wasn't the one, although I guess maybe not, because it would just make it more competitive if the timer kind of slowed down a little bit. It's hard to say. If the pace is getting slowed down, then kind of in some way the challenge is kind of getting turned down a little bit too. Right? Owen says, as usual, here it is. As usual, I wasn't the one who made the change, but I'll take the blame because that's what he's here to do, right? He's here to take the blame for Luthieus. Luthieus isn't here because that's their tactic, I think. Sorry for ruining the event. He's kind of mocking, right? This is where the Shills jump in. And we'll get into who the Shills are and what's going on with the Shills in a minute. That's kind of how it works, right? You get the false narrative is dropped, right? Or, Owen will come in and say this is how it had to be. This is, I guess the false narrative there would be that, it had to be changed because it was broken, even though it was kind of designed that way. It was already like that for a long time beforehand. Changing it in the middle of the event was kind of unethical, right? I think that was the point, right? And gutting the flow, kind of slowing things down, right? Here's the example for Luthieus. Luthieus coming to the aid. This is from the Money Guild fiasco. Here's Luthieus. He says, okay, here's the thing. And this is what happened. Money Guild was getting kicked out of dungeons. There was no rules about how many characters you could have in the dungeon at the time. The GMs had took it upon themselves to start kicking Money Guild's characters out of the dungeon in the middle of battle with no word of advance warning or no rule change. But then all of a sudden they just came out and said, and then they changed the rules afterwards. But, Money Guild and this Owen were kind of going at it. Owen seemed to be taking it kind of personally because it could be that he plays the game and was involved in some kind of way. So it's hard to say, but, Luthieus is showing up now to their channel that they made called UO News or something like that. And it was it was made by Bobby, who was the leader of the Money Guild. And he was basically he made that channel to try and bring some accountability to Outlands. The admins were playing favorites, as per my last video, right? In his opinion. And it says, okay, so here's the thing. Like I said, I don't do the admin stuff, but here he is, showing up to the news Discord channel to, be the PR guy for the Shard. No, it's not his domain. I don't know why they do that. They keep doing it. They've been doing it for years. It says, I don't do admin stuff, and I don't make the decisions on player things. Owen had his reasons. So he's here, but he's here to back up Owen all the way. Just like in the other situation, Owen was there to back up Luthieus all the way, right? And then he goes on to say he's not a stalker or whatever, and then says, and then he comes at them with false narratives like, again, I don't make that decision, but a number of Money Guilds have, over the course of 6 months, given us more than enough reason to ban them purely for their actions alone, not even counting the reward exploit which Money Guild brought to their attention. This Bobby guy brought it to their attention. And now the reason that, Bobby even made this channel is because Owen was banning I think he threatened to ban the entire guild, unless the entire guild just didn't kick a few members out, right? And some of the players wanted to play there, because they had advertised this Feluca already. They already took all their money for Feluca, so they wanted to play still, right? Players get attached to their items and stuff. And this is about 6 months in or something that's happened. Can't remember. Let's take a look. Well, actually, it says today at 9:29 because it's a screenshot from that news channel. Anyways, it says, here's the false narrative. The very fact that the first thing you guys did was create a channel whose sole purpose was to try to hurt the server. Again, that's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to help the server by bringing accountability to it for Owen's, misbehavior, mod abuse, basically. That's what it looked like. And, in my opinion. And it says, was to try to hurt the server. That's why they made the channel. It was in retaliation for what they believe was wrong. Right? That's gaslighting. It's victim blaming. Shows that, in my opinion, that you honestly don't care about the server. Even for the members of Money, we're still playing here and enjoying it. So it's a total false narrative, right? And they have tons of shills. We've already seen how the shills are in that channel. They just dogpile on. Right after the Shard will come out and make a statement where either it's Luthieus or it's Owen when it's actually supposed to be the other one. And, after they say whatever they say, that's all you really get from the Shard, and then the shills just jump on you if you even want to say anything at all. And you're risking your items, right? People don't want to risk their stuff. You see some of the comments in my videos, they talk about admin abuse and how it happened and how they, they feel like speaking out about it in the comments, but They know that it might lead to a ban, in their opinion, right? So these are their own players. That's just what's going on in my comments on the YouTube channel, right? Here's another one, Luthius. This is from a different video. Again, I think the last video. This is Luthius explaining how, you know, in Felucca, basically what happens is Felucca is a map. It's a map, and it's a rule set for that map, right? That's what Felucca is. This is Felucca, right? Outlands is Felucca. That's what they say. So when an IDOC, a house that's in danger of collapsing, that's what IDOC means. The problem, he's saying this is the false narrative, that this is a problem. He's saying the problem with the current IDOC system for, you know, houses falling down, they fall down, basically all the loot drops on the ground. And, you know, anybody can take it at that point. So, and place a house there. It gets very competitive. It's the most competitive aspect of Felucca gameplay, is the fact that the houses fall down and all the loot's on the ground and you're allowed to kill anybody. They can just give you a murder count. That doesn't mean it's game over. It means in some cases that you can't come into town, or, you know, it also means that anybody can freely attack you at any time, and you can't give them a murder count when you're a murderer, right? Criminals don't have rights, right? You know, if you're a criminal because you just stole something, you can be killed, and that's just you can't give a murder count, right? So that's just how that's how Felucca operates. That's what the rule set is. You know, you can go and cast invisibility on someone's pet or whatever, and that's allowed because you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to kill them, right? You cast invis on their pets. That's a-okay, right? Doesn't matter if you're taking over a spot or something. That's how the game works. You take over these house spots and you don't let anybody get the loot but you and your buddies, right? So he's saying it's a problem. He's saying the problem with the current IDOC handling is that the loot ends up and the houses end up in the hands of people who are a very small percentage of the player base, most of whom already have 2 to 3 houses. They're allowed to have 3, so why is it a problem that they have 2 or 3 houses? They're allowed to, right? So, you know, try and bring that up to them, but they just do whatever they want, and they just mock you for bringing it up. They'll just say, oh, you know, you're bad, you're a bad guy, and they'll just make fun of you, and they'll tell your guild master to kick you out of the guild, or they'll kick the whole guild, right? That happened to Rat Yelled twice, apparently. Right, so, and then here's the shills, right? And we'll get into who these shills are, but this is what they look like. Trammy House Plotto, that's genius, right? Is that what Reddit brings us today? It was about this kind of thing where they were having, it's in my last video, it's about when they do expansions on this shard. When they do a land expansion, they do a lottery to give all the houses to the new players. And they know that the veterans would get a house. But then they implement the system where they might not necessarily get one in favor of new players who are more likely to donate. And they're, you know, it really seems like there's a lot of incentive for new players to donate on Outlands, but we'll get into that in another video. But you know, here's the shills. This is what they look like. Here's another false narrative. The shills help push the false narratives, and they help cover up the criticism, sometimes with food pictures. They just spam over top of you, try to change the subject, right? Once the shard is spoken, you know, whether or not it was a good answer from the right person, the shills will just stop you from talking. And, you know, here's one, mindless. Well, yeah, the house lottery is way more trammy and less skill-based than just letting the current established player base, who are skilled, place wherever, whenever. You're right, he's saying it's the opposite, but then obviously that's a false narrative, right? Anyways, so here's a potential reason for what's going on. This is from my comments. NFA Peng 187 writes, sadly, a lot of people make tons of real cash off Outlands. So yeah, it's slit throat for these folks who are making 10K a month just selling gold. Then houses, I see a post on NPC website, guy had 6 houses for sale for cash. Wouldn't be surprised if it was the owner or a staff member, right? So what this person is saying is, you know, it's possible then that these people could be, you know, this shard could be using this system where this 50% of the houses that fall down now, the loot still goes to everybody, but the house spot gets reserved for, a lottery system, which probably, I think, benefits new players. That's what they did when they did their land expansion. They did a lottery for the new spots, and it favored new players, right? They had a higher percent chance of winning the lottery if they're new. And, they basically, it looks like that's what they've done at this point. I think, that's how it would ideally help some people into their first house on the server, would be if they do the lottery the same way, where it has an advantage to go to a new player, right? But, there's no transparency. They do not hold themselves accountable. They see the videos, and they're not interested in coming and talking about how we're wrong in the Discord channel, or making a statement, or anything other than just mockery and shills, right? So it was a little off screen. Let's take a look here, yeah. Right, so, okay, so do you really trust that, the houses aren't not going to new players necessarily, but they're going to some of the staff's own players, their own characters, who are then putting them up for sale for 500k, 600k in the game? It's very easy. You don't even have to sell. You don't even have to do anything to sell your house. You just list it for sale right there on the house sign in the game. As opposed to a regular server where, there's some player interaction there. Most servers prefer to try and make their players interact as much as possible, so they wouldn't really implement a system like that. They usually rely on, players putting their house for sale up in the Discord to get some interaction going, right? And so it's a little strange that Outlands has this system going where, now they're taking some of those houses, and who knows where they're going. Are they going to new players? Does it help the new players still if the staff themselves won those houses, right? I'm not saying that that's what they're doing. I'm just saying, this is why it's very important to be professional, right? This is why it's very important to always try and keep your name good in the community for being honest and being truthful and being a good person, right? Treating people with respect. So it's up to the viewer to decide what they think there. I'm just showing them the screenshots and giving my personal opinions on what could be going on. It could also be that, there's a lot of streamers in Outlands channel. There's a lot of people that could be selling gold, right? And they could be the shills that keep coming to the rescue for the shard. And I'm looking at some of these comments. I'm finding some other false narratives here in the comments on the channel. Here's one from QBradQ. Posts a comment on one of my videos. It says, UO scams. Again, oh, sorry, you know what? He had two posts. Here they are. You and most of the commenters, he said, seem to be conflating a Felucca rule set with being a dick is okay. Being a dick is a very subjective thing to say, right? In terms of rules, when we're making our rules, we want to make them clear and concise. We're not going to be making rules that are like being a dick is not okay, because being a dick is subjective. We want to avoid that. We want to have solid rules that are clear and easy to follow, right? So he's saying that's two different things. He's saying, I am not trying to defend Owen, right? And this comes up a lot. A lot of commenters say this, the same line, that they're not trying to defend Owen. They don't know Owen. They don't even play Outlands, right? So they're not involved. They have no stake in this. But yet, they're totally backing up, Owen's position on everything, or whatever the shard did, right? I've never chatted with them. I'm not trying to say that I agree with what happened in this instance, right? Again, you seem to think that any shard with a Felucca rule set is A-okay, with their players being harassed. Outlands has a clear no grief policy. That's not a clear policy. This player did not engage in PvP combat to win a spot. He simply was trolling someone repeatedly. He was visiting his pets or something. He was trying to tame a pet, or he was trying to do anything. It doesn't matter. He's outside of town. He could be killed. That's how the game works, right? If you don't if you're having a problem with a player who's invising your pet, then what you're supposed to do is go and hire a skilled player to come and help you out, right? Offer them some gold. Have that player interaction, right? You don't just get the game handed to you if, somebody's invising your pet and giving you a hard time. You can't just call the GMs and have the GMs come to your rescue. It doesn't work that way. Not in Felucca. And it never did. It never worked that way at all. The GMs would never come and do something like that originally at the start of this game. That's just not how it worked out. They would, I don't know. I don't know if they would ignore people or what, but they wouldn't have done something over this, right? It's just never how it worked. And even if it did, it shouldn't have happened at that time, right? So, again, I don't know, Owen, but I think you have a bad take on this one. It's like, well, you're entitled to that opinion. But if you're going to say you're not here to defend Owen, then stop defending him, right? That seemed like a bit of a false narrative that he wasn't defending Owen. Here's another not defending Owen. This is B burglar. B could mean anything. B burglar. 687. Where did this occur in the game? There is one area of the game specifically carved out for new players. I mean, if it was there, the guy is openly griefing in an area the player cannot do anything to respond to. Well, you could go and hire another player to help you out, or you could leave the area, or you could, do something else, but there shouldn't even be this safe place for new players anyways. They're going to need to learn at some point that this isn't okay. When are they going to learn that under the current system? I don't believe there is a place. And I believe that's why all these changes have to keep being made to make the game, a little bit more easy for the people that seem to be showing up, right? Not defending Owen, but you are defending Owen. There's a lot of missing context here. There really wasn't. In my opinion, there wasn't. And if there is, again, Owen can come to the channel. It's just that he doesn't. He doesn't listen to any criticism. He bans critics. As far as I can tell, he bans critics outright. Never comes to talk to them in the other channel. Luthieus came, though, that one time. Here's, we talked about this 3,000, this number 3,000. I don't know if anybody looked that up yet, but if you haven't already, he does say 3,000 a lot. Like he pushes this 3,000 number a lot, all the time. Here's Dextrome commenting on the YouTube. It says, if they really had 3,000, they'd just share the server statistics or make it public, right? I do agree with that, but also it's very hard to really trust that any statistics that people release are accurate. There's no way to really know if it's true or not. There's just no way, right? So that's why, again, you always have to be professional, and you always have to be honest, and blah, 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 right? A couple more comments. Graphics Moa 1843 said, I can't deal with this bullshit. And me either. I agree with you entirely. It's getting old. I think a lot of us are tired of it. We just want it to stop at some point. And it doesn't seem like, despite the popularity of these videos, in the channel, that there's been really a lot of changes in attitudes of certain people. There hasn't been a lot of acknowledgement of anything. And I think people are just saying it's getting old, right? Here's one. This is just to show, people hated Trammel. People don't like Trammel. If you're selling a premium currency or something like that, you're selling someone else out. If you're taking the game and you're changing the rules to, allow for more players, certain types of players that aren't, like, it's not really supposed to be their territory. It's supposed to be Felucca, but you're kind of selling it to players who like Trammel, then, people aren't going to like that, obviously. And in truth, it did undo what made UO amazing, which is, again, the risk versus reward. The more risk, the more challenge, the more reward that's there. I understand that not everyone is there for a challenging time. Some of them are there for the interaction and whatnot. Then don't start on a server that's Felucca only. I mean, you still can, and you can still have a great time. I would say that you should, because it really, be there. allow the challenge to be present, so that when you do decide that you want to try and expand your skills, then you have the opportunity to do that, right? And you will, your sense of accomplishment when you take down another player who's a skilled player, you'll feel really good about yourself. I think that feeling good and players feeling good is what being a good game master is about. You want your players to feel good, right? And so that's what makes a lot of the things that we've been seeing particularly egregious, in my opinion, right? Finally, we've got user XU5 XJ3YM4K. Oh, that one. Is this some kind of weird UO ASMR? Yeah, it kind of is, right? I'm not going to say it isn't. It's kind of cool. You can see I took out some of the windows and the lights come on at dark. And, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start recording the MIDIs from Ultima with this in the background, and I'm going to put those up on the channel, so stay tuned for that. We've got a lot of the darkness in the in the community. We've already talked a lot about that here on the channel, and I think some of the players, some of the people that came to the channel originally had said that they were excited about how this would be an opportunity, for healing in the community and for, positivity in the community as well. And I think that, at least making the midis is a start to that. And there are some other things that I might want to cover with the channel that would just be, basic tutorials on how to play. It seems like some traffic is coming here, and it could be players that are new to the game, so it could help them to have some tutorials out of that. So we'll see how that goes. Definitely stay tuned. Pay attention to the channel for future updates. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, and if you like the video, definitely hit like. There is one more thing that we're going to talk about today, and that is a server. Oh, I wanted to bring this up actually, and this is for Hephaestus. This is the UO scams. This is our UO scams right here. And inside here is a post that gets stickied every month, gets posted. As long as people don't come from different shards to talk about, what we've been talking about here on the channel, they remain in the Hall of Shame. Because it looks... And so in order to protect Ultima Online players, the following list of shards, which appear to have been caught abusing players either for donations or otherwise, has been created. Right? Please join the Discord for the most up-to-date information. You'll see UO Unchained is here in the category for, and there may be more categories that open up. But this is one that says, the following Ultima Online communities appear to have allowed members to violate rules in order to abuse or harass their critics. And this kind of happened to me when, I was talking about the video and the channel and whatnot, and I was looking for some answers. And it seemed like I was being harassed. And that was on one of my reporters' Discord accounts, I believe. I took the keyboard, and there was some harassment there, so they're already up there for that. I gotta link the videos to these. Sorry, I keep forgetting to do that. There's a video for each one of these that's linked to it on the channel. So, except for here is the UO Forever. The shards listed below are scheduled for periodic resets. Instead of a full wipe, players are in a high pressure situation that encouraging them to transfer their characters, items. Oh, sorry, that's for New Legacy. Sorry, UO Forever is here. The following shards restrict full access to their community. Discord channel without users first linking game accounts, phone numbers, or other personal information. Right? I think I also have, I have another one for that. This is the following shards restrict full access to their game without first linking Discord accounts, phone numbers, or other personal information. Right? So it's in this category, it's shards that fall into that. UO Sagas was doing some of this. I think you had to link your Discord account to play their game, right? Conversely, there's the other way. It can go the other way. You're not allowed in the community Discord channel unless you link your game account, right? And I'm not sure that this is necessarily unethical or unprofessional, but the thing that I don't like about it is that it doesn't leave the door open. There's like not a lot of room for transparency, right? If I'm a reporter and I want to go and check this shard out and see if everything's going well, or check and see if players are getting abused in there, right? I'd have to actually play their game, which means logging into their game. And sometimes some of these games, like Outlands, have their own personal client. And, it makes you accept cookies and personal information and stuff like that they take. And, very likely sell to who knows who, right? So, in my opinion, but that's very possible. Here's the New Legacy thing. We're going to talk about them next. They are on the Hall of Shame, and here's why. They're in the category for shards which do periodic resets, but then allow you, to move your character or stuff, or it could be one or the other or anything, from the shard to another shard or another game, or it could which possibly could have a whole different, underlining structure or dynamic. So basically, I'll just say what it says. It says the shards listed below are scheduled for periodic resets. Instead of a full wipe, players are put in a high-pressure situation, encouraging them to transfer their characters, items, and progress, I should say, to a different shard. This new environment may offer a fundamentally different gaming experience, potentially increasing the need for in-game purchases to maintain competitiveness, right? And New Legacy fits into that category. Interestingly, there was just an update from Ultima Online. These guys here, New Legacy. And they talk about New Legacy. It says, play for free! Play for free! The UO team is happy to announce we will be sending out a newsletter periodically, so you can stay up to date on the latest in Britannia. Right on. Please encourage your friends to sign up on our website, right? Happening online. Producer notes. So this is from the producer, right? And it's a lot of patch notes, but we'll get through it here. It says, greetings everyone. We hope this message finds you well. We have some important updates to share regarding Endless Journey accounts. These Endless Journey accounts are their free-to-play accounts. They call it Endless Journey because there's no end when you run out of money or anything. It says these changes aim to ensure fairness and integrity in the gaming experience for all players. Please take a moment to review the following. Okay. So they're looking at, they made some changes, and the changes aim to ensure fairness and integrity in the gaming experience, right? So they're talking about in the game, I think, right? The gameplay, right? So let's take a look. One account, one IP. All right. Starting with our next update, each IP address will be limited to one active Endless Journey account per shard. Okay, so this adjustment is in line with our ongoing commitment to a level playing field. Right, again, we're talking about in the game, I think. So, what does this change mean? It means that if your IP address is already logged into a free account on a shard, then you can't log into another free account, or nobody could log into another free account on that IP address for the entire shard, right? So, if you're somewhere like a university where there's a shared IP, everyone's just logged into the university system, right? And they're all sharing an IP, then, only one of them can log into a free account. Whereas, everyone else, I guess, there would have to pay or something, right? And so they put out this update here. And it says, this adjustment is in line with our ongoing commitment to a level playing field. All right, veteran accounts are unaffected. So for our valued veteran players with active subscriptions or game time, so veterans, not just people who have been there for a long time, but people who already have active subscriptions. So they're talking about subscribers, not really veterans, right? So they're saying subscribers, or people with active game time, rest assured that your experience remains unchanged. There will be no interruptions or alterations. So you can still log into your veteran account on your IP. You would still be able to log into a free account from the same IP address, right? And it says connecting with multiple EJ accounts. If you have multiple Endless Journey accounts, you can still connect to different servers. So it seems like, if you had multiple Endless Journey accounts, but all of your Endless Journey characters are on the same shard, the one you play, right? Because they have like 20 shards or something. They have like Sonoma, Pacific, Lake Superior, Great Lakes, Siege Perilous. The list goes on for a while. Hokkaido, or Hakotu. I had back in like 97 or something, I had a character on Hokkaido. Actually, it was a mace fighter with parry. And I remember being like, wow, parry made such a difference. It's hilarious to play that character. It was pretty fun. They have a lot of different shards there, and if you had a bunch of free accounts and characters on those accounts are all on the same shard, I guess now your only option would be to move, those characters to another shard, which I think they have to pay a premium for. Not exactly sure. At least at one point, it was definitely a premium. Service. You had to buy your character transfer tokens or something like that from their website, I believe. It says, you can still connect to different servers with those accounts, right? The only restriction is simultaneous connection to the same server with multiple free accounts under the same IP address, right? And here's a special note for the centralized internet users like universities, VPN users, people who are trying to play on a server that they're not necessarily located next to, or, if you live in a country where all of a sudden you can't connect to the rest of the world anymore because of, communism or whatever, then, and you had to use a VPN and you had to play for free, you're limited to that one character now. It says, we apologize for any inconvenience and we appreciate your understanding as we work to enhance your gaming environment. Yet again, I say that. But here's the thing, right? Here's what I'm looking at here. In my view, when it comes to fairness in the game, it sounds like veterans, which are subscribers, if you're paying the premium, you get to play two characters. And if you're not, you don't. And so, in some ways, I think this might even be a little bit balanced. Like, it seems like they balanced this in the games in some ways, because I heard that their Endless Journey, their free accounts, only are allowed to use up to 4th circle spells. So they're only allowed to use half of the spellbook, basically, because there's 8 circles in the spellbook. So when I'm looking at this from the lens of a player who's a competitive player, and I'm thinking, what can I do with 2 characters that I couldn't do with 1 character? The number one thing that I usually do with my second character is I gate my other characters around. And then that way, it doesn't cost them any mana or anything, right? I've played on servers like that UO Forever server that I mentioned, where if you go into somebody's house and you're not a friend, through a gate, you'll get kicked out of the house to the front doorstep. So there's really no reason not to do it with your second character in those type of environments. I don't know what the exact mechanics are on, these servers, but to have a second character to do stuff, it does seem like it's a little bit of an advantage, right? And when they're talking about veterans, they're really talking about premium, subscribers. It doesn't really seem like it enhances the gaming environment for everybody. But, maybe there's more to that story, right? You'll have to decide for yourself. But let's take a look. Here's the QA. Here's the FAQ, actually. It says, I use a VPN or connect from my university. What should I do? You may experience disconnections. Connecting directly when possible will provide the most stable gaming experience, right? So they made this change, which just suddenly disconnects users, right? And this is for the most stable, this is for the enhancing everyone's gaming environment, right? So I don't know about that. it seems kind of strange, if you want to log in with 2 characters from a free account and remain competitive, as competitive as you can, then you may experience disconnections. I've never heard of that one. Maybe they programmed it so that the disconnections don't happen while you're fighting a dragon or something, because it's an online game. So if you get disconnected from it, your character's standing there, he's going to get eaten, right? Unless they have, trammel mechanics in their trammel area where pets don't do that, or maybe they changed it or something so that they have monsters that don't do that. But still, it seems like it might just not be the most stable, it might not be the most enhanced gaming environment. But again, make up your own mind on that. I have a veteran account. Will this affect me? No. If you have a veteran account with the subscription, then it won't. So it's not about really being a veteran. It's about being a subscriber. You can be online with both your veteran and EJ account from the same IP without any issues. When will these changes take effect? These changes will be implemented within the next phase of Publish 116. In addition, we've made an adjustment to the Glorious Fortune Potion. If you're under the influence of the anti-AFK effect, you won't be able to use this potion. I don't know what this potion does, so I have no idea what they're talking about. Looks like they're having some Halloween contests, and then they go into customer support. They like to be transparent about their customer support actions, right? And I commend them for that. Thank you very much. They had 5 cases of solicitation. Solicitation is like when Unchained comes to your channel and they're like, hey, come and play UO Unchained. Or maybe they log into the game on a free account and they're like, hey, have you ever heard of Unchained before, right? So they got 5 cases of that. That's not cool. Again, unethical. Don't do it. We got 1 case of macroing. So I guess that's still illegal there. Was that always illegal there? I thought they made it legal at some point, but maybe not. I can't remember. It's funny. I used to kill the macros because I was like, you're not allowed to do that. But we'll get into that another day. I have another video planned for that. But then we got 5 cases of multi-boxing. That's when you're logged on to too many characters and you're using them for PvP, right? At least I think so. Actually, it could just mean multi-boxing. Your box is your computer, right? So they're just saying you're using 2 computers. You're using 2 computers so that you can play 2 different accounts at the same time, right? So that's what they're talking about. And they enforce that manually, and here's them being transparent about it, right? They're at least posting this, right? This information. So it says 15 cases of disruptive behavior. Okay. Right. Make a note of that, because that's 15. That's their biggest problem. Seems to be disruptive behavior. Okay. 9 cases of naming violation. Right. So maybe you named your character something that's not. Maybe it's hateful or something like that. Right. 4 cases of abuse of game mechanics. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. I would like to know more about those abuse of game mechanics. But for now, okay. Always remember and never forget. Key to ethical administration in this game or any other game is to try to prevent players from doing the thing that you don't like automatically, so that you don't have to have a public relations problem. So that you don't have to have a public relations, you don't have to talk about it. You can talk about it beforehand and get your public consultation done before you make changes. That'd be great, right? Maybe the public doesn't agree with you, and that's why they're abusing game mechanics, in your opinion, or something, right? Anytime, I'm not saying that's what's happening in this case. I'm just saying, just never forget, when it comes to game mechanics problems, Shard has to take some onus for that, because it's your game. The mechanics are set up your way. You can make it so that players have to have a 50-second cooldown in certain areas on how often you can cast invisibility on their pet or something, right? That's all within your domain ability to control. So, always try to make sure that you're covering, you're making the game how you want it, right? So that people can't do that. And then one case of staff impersonation, right? That's not cool, right? That's when you're like, I'm a game master, give me your gold and I'll give it to your other character on a different shard. And they don't like it when you do that. And it says, see you in Britannia. And that's from Bonnie Messana Armstrong, the producer, right? So a lot of people probably think that when it comes to UO scams that we're talking about the scams that come up in the game. And, I thought that maybe I would do a series of the kinds of things that players do in the game as well, right? There's a lot of, different ways that you can scam new players and stuff like that. So it might be good to put some of those, some videos about that kind of stuff up. I played on this one shard hybrid where there was always this person. There's always people scamming, Some shards allow it, right? And because they don't want to have to enforce, everything, they're just hoping that, if a player gives their item to another player under any pretenses, it's gone, right? Like, they don't want to get involved, right? And you'll see that a lot on Felucca shards. That are a little bit more old school like that. Okay, so they got some upcoming events. I've seen this artwork that they did. They put this together. I don't know. They put a whiteboarder on everything here, except for the logo. So I'm not sure why they did that, but this is some rewards for their Halloween event, I think, or no, maybe just the season or something. Seasonal event. Okay. Oh, some nice artwork in here. I like this. This is pretty good, actually. They got the dragon cutout. That's cool. I like that. And the wizard. That's nice as well. Some zombies here with, feudal land. So it's kind of hinting at a bit of a, I guess ancient, bit of word, oriental kind of theme, right? And then the Huntmasters Challenge. I don't know what that is. So they've got some events going on on the paid servers, is what some people call them because they're subscription. The free servers, they take donations, but they don't take a subscription. I don't think that would be legal. So not exactly sure how all that works. So don't quote me on that. I'm not a lawyer, so don't take my advice as legal advice or anything like that. Okay, so Ultima Online, New Legacy. Oh, it looks like they had an alpha test. We want to thank all of the alpha testers who spent time exploring New Legacy. We are still hard at work building this new Ultima Online experience, right? And can't wait to share it with everyone. If you are interested in future testing opportunities, keep an eye on uo.com. Did they announce that they were doing an alpha test on there? I didn't see anything about it, but I wasn't really keeping an eye on this. It says what our testers are saying. Okay, so we don't get to meet the testers. We don't get to know who they are. It doesn't say their names beside their quotes. So take these quotes with a grain of salt here. But it says quest chains were fun to play and the community was helpful as it should be. Right? Maybe that's why they had 15 instances of disruptive players, because they weren't behaving helpfully enough, right? Who knows? Narrative story breathes life into the world. Okay, very good. Like that. The narrative direction New Legacy brought in the beginning that feels like it's reliving aspects of the previous Ultima titles. It's not really the best English, but could be English as a ESL second language, right? But basically saying it's like reliving the Ultima titles, so that's cool. Definitely like that. It says I really enjoyed the skill up system, not having to grind for days just to get a full point once the skill was higher level. So it sounds like they got fast skill gains. That's pretty good since, they're wiping every year, right? Every 12 months, the game wipes. I think you can only move your characters or items or something to their, I won't say paid servers, but we call them subscription servers. But again, there's the endless journey, right? So, maybe, I don't know if you'd have to pay to move your character or anything like that. There hasn't been a lot of information released about how that's going to work, but, I can see why they have fast skill gain. And then it says, love the old school way of playing. So there's kind of some hint at old school here, but they've really said that, you know, this isn't a classic remake or anything like that. It's something else. So. It says the attention paid to the quests. No more kill 10 Mong bats, but decent, well thought out backstory. Nice work. So that's cool. They got some quests on there. I saw that in their video. There's a video for this new legacy shard, and you know, if they've got some nice quests, that's cool, right? It seems like in the video they had a lot of NPCs that were just automated, right? A lot of botted NPCs, right? And, you know, maybe the delay is the AI that's coming out. Maybe they want to, you know, add some AI to their NPCs or something. I don't exactly know, but this shard, they've been talking about making it for a long time, and apparently they did this alpha test. I don't know anybody who did it. If you do, you know, come to the Discord and talk about it and let us know how it is. Maybe it's a great game that wipes every year. I don't know. Bugs update. We recently received a quest on the forums for some updates on outstanding bugs. We've culminated the list and wanted to share our findings. Thanks, forum user Forverfun, for culminating the list. So they had some bugs here. We're not going to go through all that. That's fine. Customer service account, if you want to get your old account stuff. I was just wondering if there's anything else on here. It's kind of a long one. And then it talks about third-party resellers. They've also got some codes or something like that. We also would like to reiterate that the Origin Store is the only guaranteed provider of codes for Ultima Online. So they sell game codes or something, right? That would be for their subscription service, I guess. You pay for codes and you get a certain amount of time for whatever the codes are worth. I guess that's probably how it works. So there you go. So that's the new legacy stuff. I don't know. You got to tell me what you think when it comes to the new legacy and the false narratives and the shills. Are the shills people who are selling their houses for real life money? Is that why, you know, anytime that Owen or Lucius makes a change to the game, you know, there are people there who are there to say, we love you, Lucius. Doesn't matter, change, you know, kind of breaks the rule set again or whatever. You know, I guess the game's had to get... what I've heard is that Outlands had to get progressively more and further away from their rule set to the point where it's not even really the right rule set anymore. That's what players are telling me. So today you got to see some comments. We got to go through those. Stay tuned for my next video. It's going to be a really good one. And thanks for watching.